All right, hey guys, we're here for another week of Unscripted. Special guest, Jess Adkins, you're back. Beth, you're back.
I'm back.
From the Gang
Whether you
Beasts.
want it or not.
The Gang Beasts crew.
Oh.
I did not do so well.
You guys are
on that one.
famous around here, though. You're reoccurring stars.
I don't catch on to that famous part.
No, well, in reality, none of us are. But
Yeah, that's true.
We are famous for. There's only one.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
if you keep getting invited back,
Then
There's
you're something.
there.
you're famous in some circle.
That's good.
There's some
That's
circle that
good.
you're famous in.
Yeah.
So just hold that. Hold that with you. We're gonna dive in a little bit into Jesus' care for us and like the lowest moments, or Jesus' care for us when we really look at how we're provided for, how we're cared for. In Luke, Jesus talks a lot about not depending on or even worrying about our resources. Why would Jesus send his disciples out without provisions?
That does seem a little countercultural, especially for us today,
Yeah.
being Americans, being prepared.
Yeah, why don't you give me what I need before I leave?
Pulling up our bootstrap, taking on, making sure everything's well planned out. I think that he wanted his disciples to experience more. And he wants the same for us today, but we don't allow him because we're going to take care of things ourselves instead of allowing him the window to come in and provide for us many times. I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that we are so used to taking care of ourselves and not counting on other people that we try to plan out everything from A to Z. And when we do that, there's no room for God.
Yeah.
And so I think when he sent out the disciples but didn't give them plan A to plan Z, it was allowing other people to come in, step alongside
And
of
care
them
for
and
them and take-
provide
yeah,
for
exactly.
them. And do what I think that we're called to do as Christians.
Yeah, wow. Stewardship.
Right.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
something about
Hey,
that.
imagine that.
Oh, man,
Wow.
I also think that there's a room for creativity. Like the end result was what was needed and what mattered, but how they got there would be totally different. And he knew that
Yep.
that would be
Right.
like the path that they needed in order to get to that end result.
Yep.
Yeah, the individual type of thing, which
Yeah.
we all are, different individuals, and there's different thoughts and ways to get to what God has for us,
yeah.
ideally. Yep.
Yep.
So, do you guys agree that worrying about what you will eat and what you will wear seems foolish when God takes care of the birds and the lilies? Is it not worrying about these things? Is not worrying about these things even possible? If so, how? And as you guys have cared, this even goes like to your family. Like we all have kids,
Yes.
so like not worrying, is that even a thing?
I think that it is, but I think that it takes time to get there. I don't think that that's something that part of our culture is to worry about almost everything because we think we have to know the answer to everything. But I think that as you see God provide for you and show up time after time, that's when you get to the point where you're like, I don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
I think, that's the key. I think it's the seasoned walk, if you would, and being an old man, I can kind of say this, but exactly what you're saying, man. When you've seen him show up, you've partially maybe leaned on him a little bit, and then you see, whoa, he really is going to show up and take care of this. And then the next time you maybe extend a little bit more, and he really does even more. And then you just learn, that's what I need to do. But even at my age,
Yeah.
I worry. I mean, we all worry. That's just
Yeah.
in our culture. It's built in our lives. We got to take care of this. We got to make sure that's done. We got, especially as providers of the family.
Yes.
You feel that weight.
Right.
You really do. No matter
Yeah.
no matter how far along you are in your spiritual walk or not. But certainly that's what Jesus is trying to help them understand, and us today as well. That it is possible. Look at these minute things, as you would call them, in the world, and I perfectly take care of them and provide for them. Why wouldn't I take care of you? But
Yeah. Well, and speaking of minute things, but this goes right into our next question of like, why do you believe that Jesus used language like mustard seed or like a portion of yeast to describe the kingdom of God? Why would he use something so minute?
That's a good question. I would say my thinking was he's trying to help us understand that the smallest things are really the greatest things in God's eyes. I think the kingdom of God is much greater and larger concept than we could ever fully grasp. So he tries to describe it in a way that says even this minute thing can become so much more within God's kingdom. Like the mustard seed, because when you think of a mustard seed, obviously you're talking about this, but it could grow and could become so much more. And I think that's the way it is with faith, specifically, and speaking to our faith in the kingdom, it doesn't take a whole lot to accomplish a lot. So then that makes me think, well, I obviously have less than a mustard seed many times because I
accomplished very little.
That's going to get done much less. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I also think those things were common language for them. They would have understood what that was. I mean, when you talk about yeast, they would have understood that a little bit goes a long way, right? And so I think that he was very purposeful in the words that he chose and the things something that was relatable. So they didn't just understand it from like the understanding it just takes a little, but also the wording that was used behind it.
So would you say in modern day lingo, that would be like buying one of those little snakes that you throw in the bathtub and then they get grow to 15 feet long?
Right, exactly.
Or those towels, those towels.
Oh, yes.
Expand.
Yeah, I love those. Those are cool.
Yeah, those are fun. I still like those.
Exactly.
So have you ever resented God's willingness to forgive someone in your life? Has what you learned today changed your understanding or attitude of that in any way? So have you resented God for his willingness to forgive someone else?
I don't know if I could say that I've resented him. I think that there are people in my past that I've questioned why God would forgive them, and then I am quickly reminded that he's forgiven me. So I think that it is, I don't think I've ever resented him or been upset that people are forgiven, but that maybe that there's a lack of understanding from my part, my humanness, that makes me be like, oh, are you really sure you want to forgive them?
And I think very similar, and I think not to put poor Beth in my category or us together, but I think our wiring is similar in a lot of ways. So I don't think we have that bitterness type of thing, even though I think people do deal with that realistically. But to Beth's point, I agree the same thing. There have been times when I've wondered, well, why the heck would he, from our perspective.
I mean, that guy.
Really?
Out of everyone.
Everybody, right.
Exactly. But again, we quickly know and understand this is what God has given to all of us. And all of us, there is nothing greater or less than when it comes to needing forgiveness, sins and stuff, whatever. So it's just that reminder of we are all the same, really.
How do you think, in the most practical or tangible way, the gospel or the good news has transformed the way that you live your everyday life?
Probably by the way I go about my daily life, the way I treat others, the way I respond to others, the way I interact with others, and that's everywhere I go. In the grocery store, on the checkout line, if it's a school, obviously it's been a few years since I've been in school, but, different places like that, you just deal with people, and it helps you, obviously the good news helps you to understand what you should be doing. Offering that forgiveness, just like God offers it to us, being willing to show grace and share the good news. And good news, Dad, you don't have to thump the Bible to share the good news. To your point, it's whatever's good for them. Maybe they need a smile. Maybe they need encouragement. Maybe they need whatever, your friends and people that you're in contact with. And that's what you give them, and that's how you bring about life transformation.
Yeah, and I think for me, so my life verse is Mark 10:45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So if Jesus came to not be served, even though he was who he said that he is who he was, then how can I not serve the people around me? I mean, he came, he gave his life. So how can I not show that to the people around me?
Yeah, and even just listening to you guys, I mean, really, what comes out of it is just like a love and a value for people.
Yeah.
Right.
And who wouldn't want to live that way? I think, one, we've felt that. We've been given that. And student world, we call that one life.
Yep.
Right.
Like loving one person, giving them value, giving them hope, giving them opportunities.
Exactly.
And we've all felt that. And so it's such a good, amazing feeling that we can't help but give it back.
Right.
And that's what I'm hearing as well, of like, well, why wouldn't you want to experience that? Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that movement? So thanks, guys, for your thoughts. Thanks for being on it again. Thanks for being famous in our circle.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate that. We'll see you guys next week on our Unscripted.